It has been pitched as a David versus Goliath battle. An influencer and author 8 months ago put out a social media post claiming that Born Vita, the product from Cadbury's that is often touted as a health drink for children, is not in fact healthy because of the amount of sugar in the product. What followed was a takedown of that post by Revant Himatsinka and a legal notice issued to him. Now, several months later, Born Vita has in fact reduced the amount of sugar that they put in this product by about 15%. This is a claim that the influencer has made, the author has made, and something that we have checked out as well, that in fact the new packaging has less sugar in it. In the midst of this video went viral. There was a lot of commentary from health professionals and celebrities. A child's right body even issued a notice to the makers of Born Vita. Now, a couple of questions that we're looking at today. The role of social media and influencers, whether this was a takedown of the company or something done in public interest, and what next? So to speak with us, I have with me exclusively Revant Himatsinka, the author and influencer, if I may, who started it all. He goes by the name of Food Farmer online. Revant, great to speak with you on NDTV Profit. And in your own words, this is a big win for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big win. It's probably, I would say, the first time probably in history that a social media video like a 1-minute Instagram reel led to so much of change happening. I know 15% may not sound much, but for an MNC to do this is pretty staggering. And for me, it's all about the chain reaction. I'm hoping that this leads to other companies following suit and, trying to improve their product. So yeah, it's a big win. And lakhs of parents are now reading labels for the first time in their lives. So people are eating slightly more consciously. So it's a huge win overall.
At that time though, Revant, and I recall because I had a conversation with you, at that time when the first legal notice came in April, you did take down your post. You did take down your post and you did go back on some of the things you had said, perhaps the way you had branded the product. Tell us about that and the journey from there till now.
Yeah, so I made a video before. I'll give you some context. I was in the US till like 8 months ago. I just came back to India. I left my job in the US. I was making very good money. I left my job. I came back to India and I made this video. And within 2 weeks of me coming back to India, I got this legal notice. So of course there was a lot of family pressure. I've left my job, I've left my money and everything, and now I'm fighting against your corporate. So there was family pressure as well, and I deleted my video. And then I got so much of support from the public. There was someone who put up a hoarding in Marine Drive. I still don't know who the person is, against Born Vita and their sugar content. So there was a lot of support, and now finally this happened. So it is just, it's been a very encouraging journey overall. And I deleted the video because of all the family pressure. It's not that they only give 24 hours to respond to the legal notice. So they sent me a legal notice and they said, you have to delete it within 24 hours or we'll go ahead with some other, further legal things. So I did not delete it, thinking through what the implications would be. I barely had less than 24 hours to respond. And I'm not coming from a legal background. So that was basically the journey.
Tell me a bit about yourself, Revant. You talked about, and you've said this online, that you were working in the US, you came back to India. Why did you move back to India, and where did this whole sort of activism in terms of food and reading labels and packaging begin?
Yeah, so 7 to 8 years ago, I did a 1-year nutrition degree in the US. And that's where I first started reading labels and I understood how important it is. In fact, in my book, which I released about 7 years ago, I had a whole chapter on how to read labels. And since then, I always say, learning how to read a food label is an even more important skill than coding in the 21st century. People say coding is the most important skill in the 21st century. According to me, in today's time where 70-80% of what we're eating is packaged food, learning how to read a food label is even more important. And so I started talking about food labels since a very long time ago. It's only that when I was doing my job in the US, I wanted to try to do something in India. And I feel it's one of the fastest ways to create impact. If I ask you today, what is the fastest way to get 1 billion people to eat slightly healthier? according to me, it is to try to educate the users in what is healthy and what is not healthy, which is what I'm trying to do with my videos. This is my entire point, was like I wanted to try to get India to be slightly more healthy, to become nutritionally literate. Because a lot of us are educated, but we're not nutritionally literate. You can go to even an IIT guy or an IIM guy and you ask them, how much protein do you need in a day? How many calories should you consume? They often may not know the answer. Right. So I always say we are educated but not nutritionally literate, and I want to help India become nutritionally literate. That's what led me to leave the job which I was doing, come back to India and make these videos. And I still feel what I am doing is one of the fastest ways to get 1 billion people to eat slightly healthier. Again, one company changing his sugar by 15%. Like, if even 1 crore people consume Born Vita, that's 1 crore people making slightly, marginally healthier a choice every day. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so a couple of things over here. As I understand, you came back expressly to create awareness in India about nutrition. And if so, people will argue, people will ask, and people have asked you online, you faced all of these questions. What makes you qualified to make these statements? There is a guideline, there is an agency who clears anything that is sold to the Indian public, and they've given it's okay. There is a label at the back, and people are free to read them or not read them. So where do you come in, and what makes you qualified to make such statements?
First of all, I strongly believe you do not need to be I want to live in an India where you don't need to be a nutritionist to know whether a product is healthy or not. Ideally, a common public should be able to pick up a package and find out just from the package itself, without turning the back, just from the front of the package, is it healthy for me or not? And that's a challenge that today most public does not know what is healthy because they're blindly believing the marketing. That's why we consider biscuits to be healthy, drinks like Born Vita to be healthy, and many other products like that to be healthy. So I want to live in an India where you don't need to be so qualified to make simple choices for you. Secondly, to answer your question, I did study nutrition 7 years ago, so I do have a certified health coach degree. However, at the same time, I again strongly believe that what I'm doing is not rocket science. All I'm doing is reading a label from what is already on the company's package. So all I'm saying is in the front of the package, they are claiming to be tan ki shakti, man ki shakti, strong muscles, strong bones, and a lot of other claims. But if you turn around the back package, a large percentage of the product is with sugar. And sugar is known. You can go to any doctor and they'll say sugar most likely reduces immunity. But in the front of the package, they're saying immunity support. So what I'm doing is not really as complicated. And not only Born Vita is just something which the media has picked up, but there are many other products which they call themselves ORS, but they're not an ORS. So this basic things which the public should know when they're consuming. They're spending their hard-earned money. And just imagine, I'm going to ask you a question. What if you were buying a vitamin C, but it had only 1% vitamin C? Wouldn't you feel cheated if you're giving your child a vitamin C tablet and it had only 1% vitamin C?
No, you're right, Ivan. But I'm just wondering, what is the role and the duty over here of, the bodies that are in charge of all of this? You have bodies that clear products. So when I as a consumer see a product on the shelf, I know that it has been cleared, it has a stamp, it is safe to consume.
So there is a difference between something being safe to consume and between being healthy to consume. Safe and healthy are two different things. You can have a soft drink, it is safe to consume. It's not healthy to consume. And I always say these two things. I'm not against junk food. I'm against junk food marketing itself as healthy. So the challenge is a product can have 9 bad qualities and 1 good quality, but in the front of the pack, you will just see that 1 good quality. And the public, unfortunately, will believe that only 1 quality. They don't know about the remaining 8 qualities which are not good. So all I'm trying to highlight to the public is there are these other 8 qualities as well. Now, and again, I want to say, you're talking about something which is legal. Just because something is legal does not mean it is ethical. There's a huge difference between what is legal and what is ethical. So all what these companies are doing, they may be legal. Legally, they are correct. But what they're doing, is it ethically correct, is what my question is. Because
Okay.
according to me, marketing something junk as healthy is not ethically correct, even if it is legally correct.
So in Born Vita's case, for example, and we've reached out to them, they have not given us a statement. We have told them that we're going ahead with this program and we are yet to hear from them. They have chosen not to comment. But having said that, in April, they did release a statement saying that the 7.5 grams of added sugar is 1.5 teaspoons, which is well below the daily recommended limit for children. So then doesn't it become a matter of choice? If as a parent or an individual, I want to consume this, I want my child to drink milk. So I'm like, okay, with 2 spoons of Bournvita, at least he or she will have the milk.
Okay, so there's
That's
one
a
more
choice
thing.
I'm making.
Yeah, agreed. So it's a choice as long as you are aware of what you are giving to your child. So in case of Coke and Pepsi and other soft drinks, yes, parents know that it's harmful for the children. So usually they restrict their children to have it once a week. But with things like Bournvita, they give it to their children twice a day. So the 7.5 grams you're talking about is actually 15 grams. In fact, on Bournvita's label itself, if you look at it, they say recommended twice a day. So it's not just 7.5 grams, it's 15 grams. Secondly, many people add more sugar on top of that in the drink itself. So my point is, yes, freedom of choice matters as long as you are aware about the choice you're making. So in case of cigarettes, most people who consume them know it is bad for them. But in case of Bournvita, if you ask the public, a lot of the public does not know it's actually bad for them. They have it thinking it's good for them. And in fact, a lot of people who cannot even afford it spend extra money ki chalo, I will spend money so that my child at least has milk. So the problem, I'm all for freedom of choice. That's why I never say ban cigarettes. I never say ban Bournvita. I never say ban anything. All I'm saying, the consumer should be exactly aware what is in it. So yes, you can market your vitamin D and everything, but you should say that, yes, this is filled with sugar. So you should say both sides of the story.
All right. So last question here, Revan. Now what next? Now you say that you've had some victory with one brand. Are you going to continue doing this? What comes next for you? Are you now primarily an influencer who looks at all of these packaged products and sees what to take down next?
Yeah, so the idea is to again try to make India nutritionally literate, and there are several fronts that I'm trying to help out with. So I'll tell you 3 things. One is making videos to educate people. I'm not trying to fight against any company. I'm trying to educate people. Of course, by trying to go after these 5-6 major companies, you automatically influence a large mass. So that is like one of the reasons. One is making videos. 2 is I'm trying to work with certain health experts to trying to see if food can be a part of school curriculum. So imagine in India where from class 1 to class 8, you study about how much protein you need, how many calories you need, what are the common marketing gimmicks, like the color green is used as a marketing gimmick. So what are the marketing gimmicks? You study that in school. So I'm trying to work with a health expert to try to see if food can be a part of the school curriculum. 3 is to try to work with other health experts to see if we can make certain food policy changes. For example, a lot of the work I am doing would not be required if the front of package would be much clearer. Currently, the challenge is that the front of package is all about marketing, and only when the consumers turn around and read the back of the package is it clean, where you get the real story. So my work is working with the policy makers to see if we can make the front of the package more clean and very easy for the common public to understand. And I'll give you an interesting fact. I'll summarize myself. Only about 5-10% of the India knows how to read English, but every single food package is in English. So can there not be a QR code where you scan it and it will translate the nutrition label in all other languages? So there's a lot of work which I'm trying to do behind the scenes. Of course, in front of the scenes, in front of the camera, people just know me as a guy who goes after big brands, but that's not my intention. My intention is to try to get India to become healthier, and there are various paths I'm doing in order to make that happen.
So you're not afraid of legal notices anymore? Or now you have a lawyer?
No, I had one freelance lawyer way back, but no, I don't have a lawyer at this moment. But I'm not afraid of legal notices because I've understood it's a part of the process. And I have this line which I said in my video as well. If you send me a legal notice, I'm going to get you publicly noticed. So I have no option, but I intentionally sound aggressive in my videos, and I have this line also, positive aggression, is because I do not want brands to scare me or the other public which is making videos. I want brands to be scared of the public, brands to be accountable. When I say scared, I don't mean like scared, I mean accountable. That you just cannot do whatever you want. You have to be slightly mindful of what you're doing.
All right. Thank you so much. Revan Himat Singh there speaking with us. Of course, he's on social media as Food Farmer. Thank you for coming in and telling us
Thank you so
your side
much.
of the story.